Untalk, and I'm going to tell you about my Ibogaine experience. I went to Tepoztlan, Mexico for 10 days, and I did Ibogaine twice, and it was the most incredible experience of my entire lifetime. I don't want anything from anybody, but dude, this changed my fucking life, and I'm willing to bet my own money that it will change it. It'll change your life too. So let's get into my first Ibogaine experience. And I have it all written down from what I could remember and what I could explain. Because on Ibogaine, dude, there's a lot of visions that I would never be able to even explain in words. You just have to experience it for yourself to really understand. So I did 1.2 grams of Ibogaine or 1,200 milligrams on my first dose. It was a flood dose. They had to fucking shock my body. I went down there for a very specific reason. I don't think I want to get into it yet. I will end up opening up about it. It's something I kept to myself for like 7 years, and I only told my mom. And, my mom died, and it just got really heavy. It was time to go fucking take care of it. So let's get into my first experience. So every hour on the hour, they bring in another capsule. So, you start off with, they burn, it's not sage, it's like a wood. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's very similar to sage. And they do sage your room, or they call it smudging your room. But they take this smoke and they put the smoke all over your hands. And they say, let your hands be clean for your work, brother. And then they go to your heart. They say something else. I don't remember. They go to like your midsection, and then they go to your feet. And then they say, and let your feet take roots. And it's like a protection. So we do that. I take the Ibogaine, and they're like, talk to the Ibogaine. And I'm like sitting there, that's kind of cheesy. Now getting through it, I'm like, holy fuck, it's not cheesy. Ibogaine is straight from God himself. And I feel like I can prove it to anyone as long as you're willing to go do it yourself. Um, okay, so the first 3 hours or so, I'm not really feeling much. But right when I'm coming into my third hour, I start having super dark visions, like of my past, and not very good shit. So I'm like starting to have a bad trip already. And Ibogaine lasts 24 to 36 hours. So you better get fucking comfortable. So I'm sitting there, I'm having a bad trip, and it's like hour 4. Felipe comes in every hour on the hour for 4 hours, checks your blood pressure, checks your vitals, make sure you're safe, because Ibogaine is dangerous. If it's not like, you have to be very careful with Ibogaine. People have died from Ibogaine. So he comes in and he's like, time for your medicine, brother. And I was like, dude, I cannot take that right now. And he's like, this one fucking kicks your addiction. I'm like, fuck. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, dude, I have to make this trip even fucking worse. And I'm like, just give me a minute. He leaves. He comes back in like 20 minutes later. And my exact words to him were, fuck it. Let's just get it over with. If you show courage when you are scared or when you're not sure, like the Lord will reward you. So at this point, I start having this vision. And at the time, it fucking sucked. This little sign came down. And actually, yeah, that was. So this little sign came down and it said, Kit Sap, shut up, loser. And it goes boom. And it like kicks you into this never ending loop of bad trips. And there was these 2 kids with red goggles going, Kit Sap, Kit Sap, shut up, loser. And they're laughing at you. And then you're just being shot into this never ending loop of bad trips over and over and over. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude, this sucks. I'm like, you either have a vision or you go to Kit Sap. Dude. And at the time, all I could picture was God sitting there saying, fucking Kitsap, Vision for like the people doing it. So that fucking sucked. And that lasted like 30 minutes. And then the next thing that happened was, so a little before this, you get what's called dysmorphia. And dysmorphia is like you feel like you become one with the bed. So I become one with the bed, right? And you're not really trying to move. That's when I had the kit sap. It only lasted maybe an hour because I had a bad trip for about 7 to 8 hours, somewhere in there. And then it turned into the most incredible night of my life. And I have a vision that you're not going to believe me. At least most of you won't believe me. But it was absolutely incredible. And I'm just going to tell you what happened. So I get through Kitsap. And then it's like the only way I can explain this is you're wearing a mask and you're laying on a bed. And it was like all these Minecraft boxes just fucking boom, 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 come in, and they all hit at once. And it's mildly overwhelming, but you're there. Like, you're still there. You know where you are. Like, I knew exactly where I was. I knew this was going to end. Like, I just had to push through. On the other side of it, all those boxes was the Ibogaine cleaning out the junk in my brain. And you can never understand this unless you do it for yourself. But I see now that it was just cleaning out my brain and it was throwing all the garbage away, all the self doubt, like the self limiting beliefs. My childhood traumas are gone. I am burden free. Like, this shit is straight from God Himself, and I can fucking prove it if you're willing to go do it. So it's like we're like 7 hours in at this point, and I'm laying on the bed. My hands are in the shape of a steeple, and I'm just staring at the candle. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. If this fixes me and fixes the problem I came down here for, I'll happily sit here another 24 fucking hours. And right in that moment, dude, I wasn't bitching. I was like, I got myself in this situation. Like, I'm going to have to suck it the fuck up. This is going to suck. Whatever. I'm just going to push through, and I'm going to control the things I can control. So I actually have it written down in here. And this is from when I was on my trip. And I was like, 10 things I'm grateful for. My son, Caden, myself, my job, my life. And I wrote, I will smile. I was having a fucking terrible trip, but I could control that. I could smile, and I did. And I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. I was like, you know what? I fucking deserve it. Everything I've done, I fucking deserve it. And right in that moment, as I'm staring at that candle, and I don't feel sorry for myself, and I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking eat it. I'm gonna take it like a man, dude. Boom, I have a vision. My eyes are wide open, and I can see. I look to my right, and I watch this little man get out of me. And he walks down the bed right in front of me and out the door. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, holy fuck. I just watched a little man walk out of here. And then I start thinking, or was it a little boy? Because I have a lot of trauma from my childhood. So I don't know. I don't know if it was a little man or a little boy. It could have been either. So I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything, because when I'm trying to recall this just by my memory alone, that's why I have it all written down. And I try to put it all in order. It's just really hard, the timeline when you're tripping like on Ibogaine, trying to remember the timelines of everything. Like, you're never going to get it exactly right. But I'm going to tell you my main visions that I had. So after I watched the little man get out of me and walk out of the room, I'm still sitting there. My hands are still like this. I'm still laying on the bed. My eyes are wide open, and I'm watching the candle. Because when you start the trip, they light a candle. They say when your candle goes out, your trip is over. And the candle burns for 36 hours. So, and at this time, a very distinct buzzing. It already started. So the buzzing came when I went to Kitsap. So The only way I can explain this, and I heard Sean Ryan, the Sean Ryan show, explain this. He says it's like a bee with metal wings, and that's like the only way you could ever even remotely describe the sound that you hear. It's inside your ears. It's right in the center of your head. It's like your pineal gland just going fucking crazy. It's very distinct. Like you cannot miss it. Um, that buzzing's been going on, let's say 45 minutes maybe at this time. Like it's been going on for a while and it's extremely loud. And then all of a sudden, as I'm laying there on the bed staring at the candle, because it didn't matter what was going on around here. Like what I could control was I could stare at that candle and I could smile, even if I fucking hated the time I was having. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the candle, and the buzzing in my head stops completely. Completely stops. I look to my right again and I see this man, like a grown man. I can't see his face, I just see his outline. Buzzing completely stops, and I hear him. There's a pane glass window with like artwork in the room I was in. And under that, there's a little ledge, and there's brick, 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 brick. So you can set drinks there, and like there's a, you can set stuff up there. So the buzzing stops. I watch this man, and I hear him take 3 steps. Doof, doof, doof. He picks something up off the ledge. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Ping. I hear him put it down, and I hear him walk back over to my side, and the buzzing goes like he went back to work. I was never scared. This man did not scare me. It was like this man was fixing me. And I was just like, holy shit, dude, I'm tripping. Like, really fucking hard. I just watched that. Like, holy shit. So, like, at this point, you're like peaking right now. So we're like 6-7 hours into it, and you're tripping. You're tripping hard. So the buzzing keeps going, and I'm just sitting there trying to like break this stuff down. But when you're on the Ibogaine itself, like, good luck. Good luck breaking that stuff down. So nothing like that I could ever explain to you really happens until about 14 hours in. At 14 hours in, I'm having the best night of my fucking life at this point. Um, like the Kit Sap thing, I died laughing over for like over an hour. The humor in it. And when that little sign came down, I was like, how the fuck is this happening? Like that's like God has to be real or we live in a simulation. That's what I was thinking when I saw this. And if you do it for yourself, dude, you will understand. Like you will see what I mean. So at this time, I'm like, okay, God is definitely real or we live in a simulation. I'm not sure which one at this point. It became very clear which one. So 14 hours in, this is the vision you're not going to believe. And that's fine. I'm just going to tell you what happened. Sitting there, I'm looking at my hands. And I can see the Ibogaine running through my hands, my fingers. I'm watching it. I can see it. I call in Juanita. She's a nurse there. I was like, do you see? She was like, no, Ryan, only you. And she brought me a banana. So I grabbed this banana, and then there's like spiders crawling all over my hands and all over the banana and on my other hand. They're all over. And I'm just looking at it, and I like put the banana down. I'm looking at this spider on my finger, and I touch it to my face. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just tripping. There's not spiders. I wasn't scared. Like, I was not scared at all. I was still having a great time. And I keep looking at my hands. And my hands start to change. They get thorns all over them. Thorns, top to bottom, on both sides. I'm just looking at these thorns. Then the thorns go away. And then my hands turn, and they're bloody, and they're dirty, and there's holes in them. And both centers, holes, both centers of my hands. This whole finger is gone. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these hands. And I'm like, holy shit, like these are Jesus Christ's hands. And I'm just looking at them. They go back to my hands. Dude, this is fucking hard for me to talk about. And as I look at my hands, he takes this part, just this, of my index finger, half of it off, and replaces it with his. And it's still all bloody and dirty. But the rest of my hand is mine. And this hand just stayed the same. It was just this part, half of my index finger. He took it off. He put his finger on mine. And it was bloody and dirty. And the rest of my hand was normal. And I'm just looking at it. And then he covers it. Oh, before he covered it, it was still bloody and dirty. And I'm just looking at it. And then he uses the finger he just gave me and he pushes my two other fingers to like let me know he's there. He covers it with a cloth. He removes the cloth. My hand is back to normal and it's healed. And as I like break this down, I'm like, he gave me a piece of his broken body to make me whole because he is my father. And it was like fucking boom. This moment is just incredible. Like, how did I have this vision? That was by far the most significant vision I had while I was on Ibogaine. I did do Ibogaine again. A couple days later, I think I did Ibogaine twice within like 4 days. It was a lot more mild, but still extremely profound because I got closure. Like, I saw my mom in a white dress on a beach, and she was really young. This right here is my mom. She died in September. So I saw my mom, and it was out of nowhere. She was only 56. She died in her sleep. It was like she had a heart problem nobody knew about. Just died in her sleep. It was really peaceful, though. So I see my mom. I see childhood memories. You know, the Ibogaine showed me how clean my mind was. It showed me all the space I have for learning new things. When you take Ibogaine, it reverses your brain health by 1.5 years at least every time you take it. They've done studies where they have shown veterans with massive trauma have reversed their brain health by 5 years every time they took Ibogaine. Ibogaine is straight from God himself to fight back against the opiates and to give people their fucking lives back. That's his way of fighting back, and I can prove it. You just have to be willing to go do it. So let's get back into my second trip. So on my second trip, it was still really profound. It was a lot milder. You know, when the boxes came and the dysmorphia, like on the first one, dude, the dysmorphia, like your lips even like you're becoming one with the bed. On the second one, it wasn't even close to as intense. And then when the boxes came, there was way less because the Ibogaine had already cleaned out most of my brain. I had another vision on my second one where it showed me my heart. My eyes were closed and I had the mask on. It showed me my heart had an offbeat and it stopped my heart and I felt it. I felt it stop my heart. And then it goes boom, 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 boom. And my like blood pressure is always a little high. It always has been. And they came and checked it and it was fucking perfect. Like, I can't explain this shit. You know, you just have to experience it for yourself. So, let's see, I know I'm forgetting something from my second trip that was really important. Let me look through my notes really quick. Yeah, like it released me of all my traumas. All my, I've like really dark childhood memories. Like my first memory that I have is really dark. And like I still have those memories, but they don't control me. This is the first time in my life, like in my mind, it showed me my throne. And I was hearing something I didn't like, and I just said silence. And I literally heard crickets. The first time in my life. Ibogaine showed me my age, but it was younger. So I start thinking about this. I'm like, it must be going off of the way God intended it to be, which was a month is a month. 13 cycles of 28 days is supposed to be a year, not 12 months, 31 days this month, 28 days every every 4 years. Like, shut the fuck up. God intended it to be 13 months of 28 days. So I don't fucking know. I'm just telling you what I saw. In my second trip, I also saw, I was like, towards the end of it, I could control what I was doing. So I would say, take me to my memories. And like, I could never explain this to you. You just have to go do it for yourself. The only way I can almost explain it is like a bunch of Minecraft boxes. And I could go up, and they were all blue, and it was like never ending. And I could go up to any one, and I could open it, and I could pull out a picture, and I could look at the picture, and then I could remember the memory. And it was just fucking incredible. I mean, childhood memories that I completely forgot about. I have a sales coach, and he's like, "What's your happiest childhood memory?" No idea. I have no idea. I don't even remember any happy memories from my childhood. Oh, dude. This shit just released all that. I have no burdens. None. Like, I know what is important. And for me, I want to help people. I want to see veterans get their fucking lives back. I mean, it's incredible. Another vision I had on my second trip was, think of like a carousel that goes around and around and around. And there's these birds sticking out, but it was only their necks and their heads. It was almost like they were trapped inside there. And I could only think of like Africa, you would see this, which Ibogaine comes from Africa, and I saw African women, and I felt like I saw a beautiful African woman. And then I saw a couple others that had like stuff sticking out of their faces, and all I could think of was like, these are the people we got the Ibogaine from. So I'm looking at these birds, and this actually happened pretty early in the trip. I just saw my notes on it, and it reminded me of it. They're spinning around, and they're all black eyes, black beaks, and they're making eye contact with me, every single one of them. And there's like 30, and they're just spinning around and around and around, and they're looking at me and making eye contact and going, "Watua, Watua, 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 Watua." I'm just like, well, that's fucking weird. I asked ChatGPT what Watua means, and it had no idea. So I have no idea what Watua means. So I saw aliens. Yeah, that was fucking weird. You know? Like, that was really fucking weird. Let's see. So, like I said earlier, it showed me my throne in my head, in my mind. It showed me where, the child version of me is, and he's happy, and he's got his own spot, and it's beautiful. In my mind, like, the Ibogaine was showing me all of this. The Ibogaine showed me how clean my body was. I saw this like graph, and it was like analyzing, and it's like green, check, and it was like the Ibogaine was excited. Like, it was fucking crazy. Like, I was tripping. It's just the most incredible 10 days of my life. And it was absolutely incredible. Let me just look through my notes really quick, see if I forgot anything. Oh, it showed me all the space I have for learning, because after you do Ibogaine, your brain goes, and I might get this terminology wrong. I think it goes into theta. So I'm going to learn things like a 6-year-old for the next 3 months. Tell me this isn't from God himself. And like the neuroplasticity on your brain, so you can form new habits. Like, if you do Ibogaine, you cannot start a bad habit for 3 months, or it'll be really fucking bad. That's really important to remember before you go do this. Okay, let's see. And just like the gratitude I feel every day, it's called the present for a reason, and that's because it's a gift. Like, don't ever fucking forget that. And it's really easy to get wrapped up in your life and, feel sorry for yourself. But it's like, dude, I was in the position I was in because of myself and my own actions. I have nobody to blame but myself. It was time to go take care of that shit. And, God really fucking rewarded me for showing courage when I was scared. Like, taking it more when I'm having a bad trip, dude. That's like, if you've ever done that, that takes some fucking balls, dude, because you're already hating it, and then you're like, I have to intensify this. Like, that fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to do that. But he was like, this one kicks your addiction. Just like, dude. But if you show courage when you're, not feeling it or you're scared, the Lord will reward you. Like, he loves that shit. Don't feel sorry for yourself. At least for like my situation. Guys who went to war, I was never in the military. I never went to war. I don't know what your PTSD is like. I've had my own traumas that really fucked me up, but that's why I have such a soft spot for you guys. I wasn't kidding me, and people are just try to say this isn't from God himself. It's God's way of fighting back against the opioid pandemic and to give people their lives back. Dude, I promise you, if you go do this medicine and you don't believe in God now, your eyes will be opened and we will talk after. And I guarantee you will have a different mindset. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed.